Hey guys, welcome. The books fell. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mirna Mendez and I'm so happy you decided to click on today's video. As you've seen from the title of this video, we're gonna talk about the 13 books I read in March and in April. Last month I did not make a wrap up for my YouTube channel, so since this month I didn't read as much as last month, I decided to talk about both months in one video. So I'm gonna review all the books I read, tell you my ratings and if I recommend them or not. Sorry for the hideous background, but the lighting in my room is terrible, so I'm literally standing on my bed because I have a window right here, and this is the best I can do for today. The lighting is not in my favor, but now let's start and talk about the books I read this month. We're gonna start by March. In March I read 9 books and it was an amazing reading month. I think one of my favorite reading months so far. I started the month reading Magnolia Parks on my Kindle. If you don't know, Magnolia Parks is Kindle Unlimited. The first 2 books in the series, the last 2 books are not Kindle Unlimited. I don't know why, but they're not. Anyway, I read it on my Kindle. I rated it a 5 stars. I really loved it. The book was really fun, and if you don't like reading about toxic people, toxic relationships, this is not a book for you because it is really toxic and you're gonna get really frustrated by the characters, but I don't mind. I really find the drama really fun. I give it a 5 stars, mostly because of the quotes, because it has amazing writing. I love Jessica Hastings' writing, and the ending was, I was shook on another level. But yeah, this book is basically about this girl named Magnolia and this guy named BJ. They're really rich and a lot of drama happens in their life because BJ did something to her and they basically can't move on from each other. They hurt each other a lot, you know, Gossip Girl vibes, but in London, a lot of money. And yeah, I say Gossip Girl vibes because I've heard other people say Gossip Girl vibes, but I've never seen Gossip Girl. So if you've seen Gossip Girl, it's something like that. I gave it a 5 stars. I really liked it. It was so fun and frustrating, but in a good way, you know. Then I read another 5-star read for me, which was Ghosted. This book is also on Kindle Unlimited. It's a standalone. It's a second chance. One of them is famous small town single parent trope, and it's basically about this woman. She works at a grocery store, and this guy who is an actor plays a superhero and is really famous. And they were a couple in high school. They run away together and everything, but something happened between them and they stopped talking. She ends up having a child. The sweetest kid I've ever read from. I really loved it. And then he tries to make things right between her, the daughter, and it's really wholesome, really fun. I love the tropes in this book and I really recommend it. What's really fun about this book is that you get the past and the present timeline, but in the past you get to read from her notebook because she like journaled, like writing about him or telling a story about them, and it was really cute and I love that. And what's also fun about this is that when she grew up, she loved this superhero, and now in the future, well, the present, he plays that superhero, and it's also their daughter's favorite superhero, and it's really cute. I definitely recommend it. If you're looking for a second chance romance, single parent, this one is really good. Then in the month I made a 24-hour readathon, which if you're interested in seeing that, I vlogged the previous book I talked about, Ghosted. I vlogged it there, and I also vlogged 5 Survive, Holly Jackson's standalone. If you know me, I loved the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, especially the last book. In my opinion, that's the best one, but that's another topic. I rated that series overall a 5 stars, and I ended up rating this book a 4 stars. Not my favorite, but it's a fun, fast-paced, easy read. This is also a YA mystery. It's about this group of friends who go in an RV to spend the spring break together, and while they're on their way, that RV gets stranded, and it was not an accident. Someone planned this. They basically have to tell the person who is attacking them a secret, a specific secret, and they have 8 hours to tell them that secret, and if they don't, someone is gonna die. So hence the name, 5 survive, 6 friends, 8 hours, 1 dies, you know. It's really fun. I gave this a 4 stars. Not my favorite. I actually enjoy the series way more. Didn't connect to the characters a lot. There's a character here that I hated with my entire heart, but I still really recommend this book. If you're looking for something fun, a thriller, a YA mystery book, this is a really good choice. Then on that same 24-hour readathon, I read The Inheritance Games. This book has been on my TBR for a long time. When I saw what it was about, it was really fun. It's about this girl who inherits a fortune from this random man who she's never met, and is basically inheriting all of his money, all of his properties, everything. And she has no idea why. The man has 3 grandsons, and they're trying to know why she inherited that, what happened, is he trying to tell them something, you know. And it's a lot of, they have riddles to uncover. The family used to play at a lot of games, and in this book you're gonna see them trying to uncover those riddles, find out why everything is happening. I need to continue the series. This book ends in a cliffhanger, pretty good cliffhanger, and I don't have the rest of the series with me. I ordered it, but it hasn't come yet. I gave this a 4 stars. It is really fast paced. The chapters are really short, which I love. I feel like I'm reading faster if the chapters are short. But yeah, definitely recommend. If you're looking for a fun read, easy, fast read, this is definitely the book for you. I don't know about the rest of the series. Some people say it gets better, that the second book is people's favorite, and some romance is gonna happen at some point. I have no idea. A lot of people ask me which team I am. I'm not sure yet, because in this book you don't get much, but I think I'm Team Grayson, right? He's like the more mysterious one. I don't remember. But yeah, highly recommend. Then I decided to pick up The Mistake, which is the second book in the Off-Campus series. I read The Deal, the first book, in December of last year. I loved it. I loved Garrett and Hannah, loved their love story. It was really fun, the right type of spice. I really liked it. I decided to pick The Mistake. I had really high hopes for John Logan's book. I did love it, but it was not my favorite. I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was a second chance romance, and once they were together, I was not interested at all. But I love the college vibes that these series give. But yeah, I still recommend it. It's basically about John Logan. He's a hockey player and a freshman. They basically hook up, and she was looking for, actually don't remember. I know it's a second chance because he fucked up one night, and like they were hooking up, and like the 3rd or 4th time they were hooking up, he fucked it up, and I don't remember. But yeah, 3.5 stars for this one. I do remember that I was not as in love with the book as I was in The Deal. So then I read on my Kindle Mile High, which is also a hockey romance. This book is about a flight attendant and this hockey player. This book is not college romance. They are full adults. He's a professional hockey player, and she's basically the flight attendant for the team, so she's always on their flights. And I love the representation in this book. I think I also vlogged about this in my swapping my screen time for reading. I actually really enjoyed it. The spice was spicing. The love story was really cute. However, I did end it rating this a 3.5 stars because it was fun, it was cute, but I felt that this book was unnecessarily long. I felt like I was reading the same thing, that they were saying the same things, but like written differently, and I was kind of bored of like feeling that I was reading the same thing. I did enjoy it. I loved the female character. I loved the male character. Loved the representation. Loved how she was a plus size FMC. How he was always open about anxiety and mental health. Not a lot of books and in life men talk about mental health, so I really liked that. The shelter, the dog shelter, I loved that. That was my favorite part, I think. But yeah, I recommend it if you're into forbidden romance, hockey, sports romance. Oh, and I'm also really excited to start her brother's book, which is The Right Move, the second book in the series. He is an NBA player, and I think he's gonna have a romance with one of her friends. So I'm really intrigued in reading that. I've heard that that book is the best, that Ryan Shea is the best. So I'm really excited to read that. Probably gonna read it next month, I hope. Excited about that one. Definitely recommend this one. The only problem was it was unnecessarily long for me. But yeah, then I was in a thriller mood, so I picked up Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I love this book until the end. I felt the thrilling parts. I was really like nervous while reading it. I was thrilled. I was scared. I had anxiety while reading this, and I love that when I'm reading a thriller. This book is about this girl who does not have money. She just got fired from a job. She's living with her best friend, and she finds out that this building, which is the prestigious building, is looking for an apartment sitter. She just basically has to go to this apartment, stay there for 3 months, and she's gonna receive $12,000 just by being there. The apartment has some rules which makes this sketchy. She cannot invite anyone in, she cannot talk to anyone, and she eventually meets this other apartment sitter, and they become friends. And one day they were going to meet to talk and like be together, and the friend doesn't show up, and eventually she disappears. So since when she was younger her sister disappeared and nobody did anything, she decided that she wanted to look into why the other sitter disappeared, because yeah, she wanted to do what she couldn't do for her sister, and a lot of secrets unravel. But I ended up rating this also a 3.5 stars because the ending was so disappointing. I was expecting so much more. The ending was not it for me. I felt like it was out of pocket, or I did not like the ending. The rest of the book, amazing. If the ending was different, I would have probably rated this a lot higher, but I did not like the ending and I bumped a lot of stars. But you may like the ending. I've seen people that love the ending or like the ending, but I did not. So 3.5 stars for me. Next, all throughout the month I was hearing Haunting Adeline on audiobook. I gave that a 4.5 stars. I really liked it. It is about this guy who stalks this girl. She is an author. He has a secret organization where he tries to stop human and kid and child trafficking. The people that do that. So he basically stalks her. It's really spicy, not for everyone. Check the trigger warnings. This has 2 books. I also got the second book on audio because I really like the voice actors. We get a female and a male narrators. Thing with me is that if the voices are cringy in some way, I cannot do it and not hear the other book. But this book, actually, I really like the narrators, so I decided to hear the second book too. What I've seen is that it's darker than the first book, so I haven't started it yet. I heard like a chapter, but then I picked up another book and I decided to stop that. But yeah, I'm probably gonna hear it next month, the second book. So if you're into dark romances, check the trigger warnings and decide for yourself if you can read that book. But it's a fun book. That's what I'm gonna say. Right after finishing that book, I continued reading what became my favorite book of one of my favorite series, which was Aqua, the 3rd book in the Aqua series. This book focuses more on the war. If you read the series, you're gonna know what I'm talking about, but it focuses more on the war, and I loved how we got to see more about other characters. I loved how this book broke my heart and then make it all better. I gave this book, obviously, an infinity star rating. I loved this book. I also vlogged it in my Swapping My Screen Time vlog, and everything about this book was perfect. It was a faster pace than the previous books. It had a lot of action. I think this book had everything. The romance between Reese and Feyre, I love them with my whole heart. I loved it in this book. The last 200 pages or 150 pages of this book, immaculate. I don't know how Sarah J. Maas does it, but she always gets you in the last pages. Like, the book is amazing. And then this, perfection. So yeah, I really recommend this series. If you haven't read it, please do it. You're gonna love it. If you don't like the first book or it's kind of slow, please push through because this series is so worth it. Before this, I was an Akamov girly, but now I'm an Aqua girl. So highly recommend this series. One of my favorite series. It's so worth it. I think this is my favorite book of all time, so please read it. Obviously, Obviously, after finishing Aqua, I had to jump into Court of Frost and Starlight, which is the novella that goes right after Aqua. I loved it. I gave this a 3 stars, not because I did not enjoy it, but because it was so short and it didn't have a plot. It was basically about how they were and what they were doing after the war. It was kind of like a Christmassy vibes, so I really liked it. I loved how we got to see more than one point of view in this book. So yeah, heartwarming, wholesome type of novella. Loved it, loved it, loved it. After Aqua, I decided that I wanted to read Part of Your World. I was seeing this all over my TikTok, all over my Instagram. A lot of books, the besties that I saw were raving about this book boyfriend, and I loved it. It was such a refreshing type of book. It is about this girl, which is a doctor. She comes from a high legacy of doctors. It reminded me of Jackson Avery from Grey's Anatomy, something like that. And about Daniel Grant, which he lives in a small town. He's like a carpenter, also the mayor's town, because it's really a small town. And I love the small towns about this. It is a age gap, but she's the oldest in the relationship. It was really cute. I loved how he was such a golden retriever type of guy, and it was really, really cute. So they meet because she gets like stranded in his small town. He helps her. Then she decides to go to this like cafe to eat and relax a bit before going back to her house. And she sees him there. He sees her there, and they end up together. They go together, spend the night together, and things go on from there. I definitely recommend it. I gave this a 4.5 stars. Top tier book boyfriend. Loved their relationship. Loved every single thing about this book. So definitely recommend Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Also, Abby Jimenez just came out with Yours Truly, which is her best friend's book. So I cannot wait to read that. I've heard amazing things about Jacob, which is the book boyfriend. So I can't wait to read about them. Right after Part of Your World, I read the most heartbreaking book I've read in my entire life. I made a separate vlog for that book. I was not expecting it to be this heartbreaking and dramatic. I was not expecting to fall in love with these characters as much as I did. They felt so real, and I really loved it. I read the trigger warnings before reading it, and I still got sick to my stomach. I was literally depressed. The 3 weeks that this book took me to read was A Little Life. I gave this a 5 stars, but it's not a fun 5-star read. It's not a 5-star read that I recommend. This book is not for everyone. You should definitely check out the trigger warnings, see if you can handle reading this book. If you don't, that's totally okay, totally valid. I gave this a 5 stars because I loved the characters. I feel like I've never connected to characters as much as I connected to them. I love them, especially Jude and Willem. This book deserves a lot of more love than it gets. These characters, nobody can tell me that these people are not real because they feel so real. The book is so graphic and detailed. I don't even know how to review this book. So it is basically about 4 friends who decide to go to New York to pursue their careers. They meet in college and they have a really special friendship, especially Jude and Willem, which the book focuses more on Jude. We get to see his whole life from when he was a kid and all the trauma and abuse that he suffered as a kid. We then follow him all throughout his adulthood, and later on the book we figure out all the trauma that he'd been through and why he is the way he is, why he is like he is. And it's an amazing, beautiful written. I love this book with my whole heart, but I do not recommend it. If you want to read it, check the trigger warnings, see if this book is for you. Take the breaks while reading it. I sometimes didn't read for a day or read like 10 pages and had to put the book down. Not a book you binge. Definitely not a book you binge. So not fast paced. It is character driven. Basically there is no plot. The plot is like them. So this book broke my heart like no other book has made me feel like this book made me feel, and I loved it. Definitely a book that you're gonna annotate and tab a lot, so just suck it in. And of course, after that book, I needed a fast happy, spicy book. So I picked up Flawless, which is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. This is a cowboy romance, small town, enemies to lovers. I did not feel the enemies to lovers. Like, it didn't feel it was enemies to lovers. However, I gave this book a 4 stars. I really liked it. I can't wait to read about Kate, which is the second book, I believe. She's heartless. But yeah, loved it. It was about this girl who is the daughter of this bull rider's agent, and she basically has to babysit him because he is fucking up his career. So she basically has to babysit him. That's her job, and she stays with him. She travels with him for his competitions. Eventually a romance is developed. I did think it was really fast, like the romance was really fast, but that was what I was looking for, so I'm not complaining. 4 stars for me. Can't wait for the second book. Probably gonna read it next month too. So these were the books I read in between March and April. I loved both months. They were so much fun and heartbreaking and heartwarming, and yeah, I have no complaints. Every book I read I loved, even though I rated some of them low, but I still love them. I still recommend every single one of them except Little Life, and it's not because it's not a good book, it's because it's not for everyone. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you got some good book recommendations. If you read any of this book, please let me know in the comments. I love to talk about books with you all. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. I love you so much. Thank you and happy reading.